So when you're ready, just coming down to the floor, starting in seated cross-legged. I always like to sit up on a blanket, just so that my knees are a little lower than my hips. I find that really supportive. In some of the previous practices, we moved through some flows with quite soft arm work, and we're going to build on those flows today. It doesn't matter if you haven't done them before, right? But we're just going to build on that today, so that there's that little bit of familiarity in the practice, which I always find quite helpful. And sitting here and seated cross-legged, just finding the base of your pose, connecting down towards the earth, really finding that connection to the floor, grounding down, deepening that connection. And so rather than really bringing your attention to your breath and seeing if you can deepen your breath, deepen your connection to the floor, to the earth. And that in turn will free up and deepen your breath work. And so it might be that you can adjust and arrange your pose a little so that you're more strongly connected to the floor, so that you have a slightly deeper connection. So maybe that means that you shuffle forwards a little, right? Maybe it means that you stack a little stronger upwards. And it's going to be with this connection down to the earth, with the strong connection to the floor, that we're going to create any of our upward movements through the body. So finding that connection, see if you can deepen that connection a little bit, engage some of the muscles, low down, feel that squeezing upwards, a lifting through your pelvic floor, an engagement of your belly that starts to follow all the way up, and then just float your arms up. But keep those elbows soft, keep those hands soft, and then as they reach towards the ceiling, see if without looking you can touch your thumbs together. And then as you exhale, just soften those hands back down, keeping those elbows soft, those fingers soft, all the way back down to the ground. Keep that deepening connection down to the earth, and using that, float the hands up again on the inhale. And this time we're going to see if, without taking a look, we can connect our pointer fingers. And then slowly floating those hands back down to the floor. The movement might be a little quicker if your breath is a little quicker. And again, we're going to float those hands up on the inhale, and this time we're going to see if we can softly touch our middle fingers together. And then slowly gliding those hands back down towards the floor again. And again, floating and lifting, and this time seeing if we can gently touch our ring fingers together. And so on that exhale, softening back down towards the earth, releasing those hands down, finding that connection deeply down into the floor. And on the inhale, lifting and floating your hands up and seeing if you can touch lightly your little finger. And again, softly lowering those hands back down towards the floor, deepening your connection to the earth. And this time we're going to inhale up again. This time we're going to see if we can touch the palms together, still with that softness through the arms. And then we're going to lower again the hands back down towards the floor. One more time, we're going to inhale, sweep those hands softly towards the ceiling. This time on the exhale, we're going to take a twist. Bring your left hand across to your right thigh. Right hand touches slightly down behind you. Stay here for a couple of breaths as you inhale, open across the chest, lift up through the body. And as you exhale, soften and deepen this twist a little, right? So we're softening down, but in that softness is an engagement. On the inhale, we lightly rock out of that twist slightly. That's it. And then as you exhale, you squeeze and you deepen this twist, rocking a little further around. One more breath here. We're going to inhale and feel that rocking, that lightening of the pose. And as you exhale, squeezing a little deeper. Now this time as you inhale, sweep those hands back towards the ceiling. Again, those soft elbows, those soft wrists, as though you're moving lightly through something thick. And as you exhale, coming around to twist. Right hand across to left thigh. Other hand touches lightly down behind you. Open across the shoulders lightly. Yeah. Exhale, soften a little further into the twist. Right, the inhale, we open across the shoulders lightly, we unwind slightly. And then as you exhale, you squeeze and deepen this twist a little. You stay here for one more breath as you inhale, opening across the body lightly. And as you exhale, squeeze and deepen. And again, as you inhale this time, hands glide towards the sky. Touch those palms together without taking a peek. And this time we're going to bring the heels of the palms back behind the head. And we're going to see if we can press the heels of the palms on the back of the head and the back of the head onto the heels of the palms. And just open your elbows up and notice if there's any tension, right? If that creates the body, it makes the body want to pop the belly forwards, just notice. And then squeeze those elbows towards each other, so releasing the palms just into the fingertips, the thumb tips, now wrapping those elbows close. So let's unite with that with the breath. As you inhale, there's an opening across the elbows, a squeezing of the palms towards each other. And as you exhale, you take a little wrapping, elbows towards each other, palms lift away. One more time, we're going to inhale and we're going to open those elbows, pressing the palms towards each other. And we're going to exhale, take a little squeeze. From here, just release those hands away. We're going to come over onto hands and knees so that we're powering up the rest of our body. We're going to get some nice movements going around through the back, through the spine. And so to do that, first of all, coming over onto hands and knees, just grounding down into your pose, finding your hands down on the floor, a little bit of a lifting through your belly, right, strong through your belly. And then we're going to take cat-cow pose first of all. So let's inhale and lift into cow, seeing how much movement we've got through the back while it still feels okay. Yeah, and then exhale, just rolling that pelvis under and feeling that rolling up through the spine all the way up to the back of the head as you lower your gaze. And then we'll move that movement in the other direction. So we're going to lift our head first. We're going to feel that rolling down through the spine until we lift our tail. Yeah, so can we bring our attention to that, coiling the tail under? It's going to roll all the way up the body towards the back of the head. And then we start at this end, we lift our gaze a little and we feel that rolling all the way down the body to the tail. Once more, let's coil everything under. This time we can allow the head and the tail to move simultaneously. And as you inhale in the other direction. Now, if the head and the tail is moving simultaneously, then the movement is generated from the center. So can you bring your attention to there, to the center as you start to roll into cat, and as you start to rock into cow. Now let's come into a neutral hands and knees pose. I want you to just take a little wag of your tail, so wagging your tail one way as your head comes the other way, and then lightly wagging your tail the other way as your head comes in the opposite direction. Let's take one more either side, just testing out the sides of the body, testing out that side movement, seeing how everything's feeling today. Now, if it's okay to, can you tuck your toes under and sit back on your heels? Now, if that doesn't feel okay, just come into a seated pose because we're just going to limber up the hands a little. We're going to reach the hands out in front of us, again, nice and soft. We're going to take some rolls through the wrists, just checking in how those wrists feeling this morning. And then we're going to get that roll moving all the way up through the arms, so quite soft and watery and fluid through the arms. And then seeing if we can get that movement going through the shoulders. Yeah, maybe that's a little bit of a puzzle. And at the same time, your toes are having a nice little stretch, right? Let's turn our gaze one direction and then turning it around in the other. Right, so now we're limbering up the neck, turning around in one direction and then around in the other. Wonderful. We're going to bring those hands back down to the floor, tuck your toes, lift your hips, press up into downward facing dog. Let's draw one heel at a time towards the floor. Now we're loosening up the back of our legs. Fantastic. Yeah. Drawing one heel down, lifting the other one, really pumping through those feet now, because our attention really is on yielding down towards the earth, and that's where we're freeing up our breath today. We're going to see now if we can find a little stillness, but keep the pressure pressing down into the hands and nice and evenly down into the feet. Notice if you press a little more firmly down into your left palm or your right palm or your hands rather than your feet, and see if you can find some balance. Finding the balance in this pose. And then we're going to lift our right leg up behind us into three-legged dog. We're going to bend that right knee and just start to stack your right hip on top of your left. Yeah? Can you bring your gaze out under your right arm? Finding that stretch along the body. And then just take a couple of little circles with your foot if that feels okay. Just limbering up the ankle now. Bring your gaze out under your left shoulder. And then rocking back across, rounding down through the right foot. We're going to reach that left leg up behind us. Yeah, bending that knee, stacking that left hip up on top of the right a little, bringing your gaze out under your left arm. Finding that little twirling of your ankles, so rolling your foot around in circles one way, then maybe changing the other way, and then bring your gaze out under your right arm. Now turning your head in the other direction. How does that change the pose? We have quite heavy heads, right? So does that change the balance a little? Foot back down on the floor. We're going to creep our feet forwards to our hands and come to forward fold at the front of our mats. So softening, releasing down into this pose, letting your head release and hang, right? As long as that feels okay. Knees bent enough that your belly connects to the thighs. And if it doesn't connect, then bend your knees a little more. It's okay to bend your knees, right? We want our knees bent in our forward fold. We're going to play around with our balance here in this pose. So we're going to rock from the balls of our feet to our heels. Keep that rocking going. You might even come up into the tiptoes a little and then rock back into your heels and lift your toes. Woo. Play around with that. Does it feel okay? Don't rock so much that you rock yourself all the way over. And then we're going to find that nice even pressure down into the feet. And let's see if we can float our right foot up behind us without changing the alignment of our hips too much. Right, so what happens there? Let's stay here for a breath. And then just soften that right foot back down to the floor. Again, take that little rocking back and forwards across the feet. Now rock left and right, left and right. Find that evenness down into the feet. See if you can maintain this alignment through the hips. Might be a little challenging, right? As you lift your left leg up behind you. Now some changes do naturally happen. We start to rock a little over onto our right because of course we only have our right foot down there now for balance. Yeah? Remember in these practices, it's okay to use a chair to support your hands on or some blocks if you have them, whatever you need. Let's soften that left foot back down to the floor. Yeah, from here we're going to move into halfway lift. So as you inhale, just glide up into halfway lift, finding that length along your spine. Right, so the little drawing of your shoulders back, drawing of the crown of your head forward so that you're extending away from your tail and finding again that pressure down into the feet. Where is it? Is it mostly back into the heels? Is it mostly into the toes? Now we will have that little angle back of our hips. That's all good. It's not going to stack straight on top usually. And then with your next exhale, soften back down into forward fold. And we're going to move through those two poses again. As you inhale, rising up to halfway lift, right? Finding that length out from the crown of the head, that's it. And then as you exhale, soften back down into forward fold. Shall we take one more as you inhale, rising up to halfway lift. And then as you exhale, coming back down into forward fold. Now from here, we're going to rise up into awkward chair, but we're going to take those soft arms as we rise up, floating them out like bat wings. Don't worry, we'll come through that again. We're going to exhale back down into forward fold. Right, so as you inhale, floating those arms out, soft elbows, soft wrists as you rise up into awkward chair, and then as you exhale, back down again. So I'll show you that from the front. As you inhale, rise up, soft elbows, soft fingers into your awkward chair, and then as you exhale, coming back down. Let's take it one more time. As you inhale, rising up to your awkward chair, feel all that power down the back of your legs, right? You need to really engage there. And then as you exhale, soften back down. Now this time, we're going to inhale, rise to halfway lift. We're going to exhale back down into forward fold. Inhale, float up into that awkward chair. And exhale, rise up to stand. Inhale, step your left foot back. Exhale, soften your right knee forwards. Let's stay here for a breath while you just check the setup of this pose. Now you can see we're coming into a breath-connected flow, a bit of a vinyasa. And so your left toes are drawn forwards. You're in warrior pose here. Right, just kind of out to the side. It's a short warrior. It's not too long. There's lots of reasons for that, right? But we're taking this as a short warrior and your right knee is pressing down over your ankle. Okay. Let's inhale, sweep those hands forwards and take a fold forwards over your right leg. And then let's exhale, bring our hands out into aeroplane arms. Let's inhale, rise up to stand, bring those hands out into cactus arms. Keep that right knee bent. And then straighten that right leg, fold forwards over that right leg, coming into a little fold. Remember, it's okay to have a chair there to lean on. We're staying here for a full breath. And then as you inhale, step that left foot, reach those hands up, bend that right knee forwards over your ankle. And as you exhale, step that left foot forwards. As you inhale, step that right foot back. That's it. And as you exhale, press that left knee forwards over your ankle. Wonderful. Let's inhale, sweep those hands up. Exhale, fold forwards over your leg. Inhale, reach out to airplane arms. Exhale, sweep those hands forwards again. And then inhale, rise up to those cactus arms, taking a little back bend. Wonderful. Exhale, fold forwards over that straightened left leg. Remember, you can have that chair there if you like. We're staying here for a full breath. Now, as you inhale, soften that left knee, reach those hands up. And as you exhale, step forward. So let's take it again, once more either side. We're going to inhale, step that left foot back. And exhale, soften that right knee forwards. Inhale, glide those hands up. That's it. Let's exhale and fold forwards over that right leg. Now we're here for a couple more breaths. As you inhale, gliding those hands out into airplane wings. That's it. Now as you exhale, just glide those hands forwards again, staying low over the leg, as low as you can. And then inhale, rising up, straightening that leg, if you wish, or keeping it bent for this little back bend. But with our exhale, we fold forwards over that right leg. And with our inhale, we glide those hands forwards. And as you exhale, step that foot forwards. Right, let's come through again. Inhale, step that right foot back. Exhale, squeeze that left knee forwards. Inhale, glide those hands up. And let's exhale to fold forwards over that leg. Inhale, reach your hands out into airplane arms. Exhale the hands forwards, but stay low. Inhale, rise up into cactus arms. That left leg can start to straighten, yeah? Because then we're going to exhale and fold forwards over the leg. Stay here for a breath. And then inhale, soften that left knee, sweep those hands up. And exhale, step that foot forward. Shall we try once more either side? We'll inhale, step that left foot back. And exhale, soften that right knee forwards. That's it. Inhale, glide those hands up. Exhale, take the fold forwards over the right leg. Inhale, float those hands out into airplane wings. Exhale, float those hands forwards. Still pressing down into the right foot. Inhale, rise up those cactus arms. That right leg can start to straighten if you wish, because with the exhale, we're going to fold forwards over that leg. Stay here for a breath. And then it's with your inhale that you glide those hands up, softening that right knee. And as you exhale, you step that foot forwards. Last side, we're going to inhale, step that right foot back. Let's exhale, soften that left knee forwards. Inhale, glide those hands. Exhale, take the fold. Inhale, float those arms. Yeah, that's it. Exhale, float those hands forward. Let's inhale, rise up to those cactus arms, taking a little back bend here. And then exhale and soften the weight forwards over the legs, staying here for a breath. And then on the inhale, we're going to float those arms. And as you exhale, step that foot forwards. Yeah, and let's take a little pause there. All right, so that little vinyasa, freeing up the breath. And we're going to play some more with those movements, but we're going to add some other things to them. Now we'll start by rocking our weight into our left foot. So we're going to step back with our right foot first. And then wait for the exhale and again soften forwards over that left knee. And as you inhale, again, gliding those hands out wide. But this time with the exhale, we're going to press into that left foot, lift the right knee, left hand to the outside of the right thigh, and we're going to float around in a little twist. Don't worry, we'll do that a couple more times to get the hang of it. Yeah? So let's exhale that right foot back behind us. We're going to inhale, soften forwards over the left knee. We're going to exhale, lift that right knee, sweeping that left arm across, taking this into a little twist. That's it. Let's stay here for a breath, finding ourselves in this balance and this twist. And then when you're ready, let's step that right foot back. We're inhaling to press that left knee forwards this time, slightly different than those first movements. And the exhale again, we're going to step that right knee forwards, left hand out to cross to it, taking ourselves in a little twist. Yeah, let's stay here for a breath. Wonderful. And then we're going to step that right foot back. So again, we find ourselves here in this warrior pose. And we're going to play here a little longer. We're going to rest our left elbow down on our left thigh. And we're going to reach our right fingertips down to the inside of our left ankle. Now, as you inhale, open up. See if you can reach that right hand towards the ceiling. Yeah, and as you exhale, fold forwards again. Where is the power in this pose? Can you have a whole lot of power through your belly? As you inhale, take the reach. And then as you exhale, taking that sweep forwards again, nice and strong through your belly. We're going to take it one more time. As you inhale, take the reach. And then as you exhale, bringing that right hand forwards. Now let's sweep those hands forwards, up overhead, so that we're in our warrior pose. And then open out to warrior two. Yeah, we're going to take some little movements so that we face now the back of our mat. Now, if that doesn't work in the space that you're in, then you're just going to take the pose, your warrior pose, with your right foot forwards. If, like me, you can kind of make space either way, we're going to turn those left toes in. We're going to turn those right toes out. But that doesn't automatically set us up for our little short stance. So we're going to step those left toes across a little. We're going to find ourselves in this warrior position. Yeah. Now it's on the inhale that we float our right knee forwards. And it's on the exhale that we step that knee forwards, bringing the right hand to the outside of the left thigh and reaching that left arm across, right? And we stay here for a breath. And then let's step that left foot back. On the inhale, we press that right knee forwards. And on the exhale, again, we take that step. Wonderful. Stay here for a breath. Now, essentially, it's a breath and a half, because on the exhale, we're going to step that left foot back. On the inhale, we're going to press that right knee forwards. And then on the exhale, we sweep that left knee up and we take ourselves around a little twist. We're going to stay here for a breath. Let's take one more of those. Yeah, we exhale, we step that left foot back. We inhale, we press that right knee forwards. And then we're going to exhale and step that left knee up as we take ourselves a little twist. That's it. Let's stay here for a breath. And then again, it's the exhale, we're going to step that left foot back. Let's inhale, soften that right knee forwards again. Exhale, bring that elbow down onto the thigh. Yeah, let's stay here and ground down into the feet. Right, and I'll bring you back to that breath instruction. But more important than whether you're doing something on the inhale or the exhale, I do offer that as a bit of a guide. But as the yielding down into the ground through your feet, is finding of your floor, and whatever breath you choose to take as input, right? So let's start by reaching our left hand down towards the inside of our left ankle or the inside of our calf. And then if it works for you on the inhale, gliding open, reaching that left hand towards the sky, lifting your gaze. As you exhale, taking that fold forwards again, quite weightless down into the right elbow, right? It's just resting there. You could lift it. And on the inhale, we float, right? So there doesn't need to be that pressure. The exhale, we bring it down. It's more to provide just a little guide. The inhale, we take that reach. So let's take it once more with that real weightlessness through the elbow. Exhale, take that little squeeze. Inhale, take that reach. Rise up. Come into your warrior two. Turn those right toes in. And so now you're facing again sideways on your mat. We're going to heel toe our feet a little closer. Yeah. And then we're going to bring hands into prayer in front of our heart space and just descend down into squat. Now, ideally, your ankles are underneath your knees. We're going to take a little twist down here. Now, it might be easier for you again to be resting on a chair or to be resting on blocks. So in the twist, we're going to bring right fingertips down to the floor, and we're going to inhale and open our left arm. Right, so we're staying nice and low into our squat. Let's stay here for a breath. Find that even pressure down into your feet. Bring that hand back down to the floor or onto your chair or onto your block and float. Now your right hand up. Maybe it reaches more out to the side. Maybe it tips up towards the ceiling. Finding that even pressure down into your feet. Can you connect there? And then coming back to center. From here, we're going to open up into our cactus arms, but stay low down into the knees. That's it. Yeah, we're going to take our movement of 3 here. With your inhale, rise up, keep those cactus arms, take a little lean back. Yeah. With your exhale, press back down, elbows together, palms together. Twice more. With your inhale, rise up, taking that reach, turning this into a nice little back bend, nothing too far. With your exhale, take that press back down, elbows together, palms together. With your inhale, rise up. And this time, just bring your hands down to your hips. And let's walk those feet together. Have them together. Not often we do this, right? Normally we have our feet sit bone distance apart, but we've got them together now. Because we're going to play around in a little twist here. It's not a twist that I take with you very often. So bring your hands into prayer in front of your heart space. Now this space here between the center of the rib cage is where you're going to keep your hands. And that's going to keep a bit of integrity in this pose. So we're going to sit down into the pose. You might need to adjust your feet so that your ankles aren't digging in. That's all good. And then we're going to glide our right elbow down, maybe towards our right thigh. And we're going to squeeze around in a little twist. Now, some of you may have the rotation to bring that elbow across to the other side. If that's you, go for it, right? But just being really honest and whether or not this really is twisting through your waist, or whether what you've done, in fact, is shuffled your shoulders over. Yeah, so we're really checking in with what rotation we have through the waist, because our spines are quite unique to us. And then we're going to come back to center and we're going to take a little squeeze down into the squat. I love that on the camera. It just looks like I'm shrinking into a tiny little person. And then we're going to rise back up again and bring those hands down beside us. Now notice your breath. It might have started to catch a little in that twist. Notice your feet. Press them down towards the floor. I find my connection here quite different. Yeah, I love the connection with my feet a little wider apart. In this connection, I almost feel like the energy of my body is being lifted right up into the top of my chest. I'm starting to pop. And so that creates the sense in me of breathlessness. Maybe you've got a little bit of that going on for you as well, but we'll just even that out in a moment. Let's bring hands into prayer in front of our heart space. And again, just sit down into the legs. We're going to glide our left elbow across now. Maybe you can bring it to your left thigh. Maybe on this side you have a little more space to twist and you can bring it a little further across. But again, just remember, practicing that integrity. Is it really a twist through the waist? Or did you just shuffle your shoulders across? Yeah, we're managing, we're creating that twist through the waist. Wherever your elbow is, it's okay. But there's a squeezing, a lift with your exhale from your pelvic floor that squeezes up through your body. And we explore that as we stay here for a couple more breaths, maybe sitting a little deeper. And then unwinding and coming back to center. And let's shrink ourselves into little mini-me's again. We're going to take that little sit down over the legs. And then we're going to rise up. Release those hands. Bring those feet a little wider apart. Yeah. Give your legs a little shake. We're taking a while here to shake the legs. So we're really getting everything going. Getting the calves shaking around if you can. Get some wobble through your muscles. Maybe feeling that wobble move all the way up the inner thighs, back of the legs, wobbling your bottom around. Maybe you can get that shake happening through your hips. Maybe you can get that wobble happening through a shimmy of the chest, a shake of the belly. And then let's bring our hands into this. Get them shaking around. Now the whole time you're shaking, aware that your feet are really grounded. But can you imagine that your feet are actually on soft, warm sand? Take a little while to visualize that. Your feet are sinking as you shake, right? Sinking into the different parts of your feet. You can feel that soft, warm sand giving way a little, supporting your arches, supporting the spaces under the toes. And then let's stop the wobbling. Let's bring those hands down beside us. Notice the pressure down into that soft, warm sand. And the way that that softness, that yielding rises up through your body. Notice your breath. And then from wherever you are, making your way into downward facing dog. So if you're at the back of your mat, you'll step your feet, your hands forwards. If you're at the front of your mat, you're going to step your feet back. But making your way into that downward facing dog, again, pressing down into the floor, feeling that there's almost a softness, a yielding down through your mat, down into the ground. And then from here, a really supported movement. So just noticing how this works for you. As you soften your knees down towards the floor, but you don't bring them all the way there. Where did your weight move to? Is it in your hands now? Can you bring it back to your feet as well? And then let's lift those knees back up. And you connect this with a phase of breath. Have a go as we lower those knees to hover off the ground. And as we lift those knees back up, let's take that again, lowering those knees to hover off the ground. There's the weight balancing through your body, can even it up, lifting those knees back up. Now let's lower those knees all the way down to the floor and press back into your child's pose. In your child's pose, if your forehead doesn't connect with the ground, put something underneath your forehead, maybe a blanket, maybe your hands. Now, I heard the pelvic bowl described recently as a tidal pool. I thought, what a beautiful metaphor, what a beautiful way to visualize what's happening through the pelvis and the pelvic floor and the belly even as you breathe. And so as you inhale and draw breath down into your body, your rib cage is expanding, your diaphragm is moving down and your organs are shuffling down so that you expand as the bowl of the pelvic floor fills. And then as you exhale, the pelvic floor draws in again. It makes this space as everything shuffles out and moves back into the places that they occupied before. So as you inhale, drawing your breath down into the body, your body makes space for that breath by shuffling everything down. So expand your pelvic floor. As you exhale, the breath moves out of the body and everything shuffles back into the spaces they originally occupied. So there is that visualization like a tidal pool as you inhale and that water or the air draws in, filling up the spaces. And as you exhale, that tidal rush of air, of water, rushes out of the body. Right? And so continue to notice your breath as it moves like that, but as well notice the points of your body where you're connected to the earth. And so maybe that's through your palms if your arms are extended, maybe it's through the back of your hands if your hands are down beside you, the top of your feet, your knees. Maybe you're able to rest your sit bones back on your heels, and so that connection to the ground, that yielding is through the hips as well, as you connect down into your feet and your feet connect down into the floor. There are parts of your body that are connected to the ground and that you can really deepen that connection, and the deepening of that connection can free up your breath. Just staying here for one more breath with that visualization, that noticing of the opening of your body, and then of the releasing back out again. And then let's inhale and come up to hands and knees. And from hands and knees, we're going to bring our forearms down to the ground. And can you bring your elbows shoulder distance apart? And your wrists can they be shoulder distance apart as well? Now, sometimes that in itself is a challenge. And if that is a challenge, then just slowly, right? Just see what works for you today. And it will be with slow adjustments that these things might change, they might not. Now, with that connection down to the floor through the hands, this is our yield point. We're pressing down into these spaces, and at any time, if this yielding, this release down to the floor is lost, I want you to bring your knees back down. Otherwise, tuck your toes and slowly lift your hips and find that that connection down into your forearms deepens. Maybe you can creep your feet a little closer to your elbows and add the crown of your head down to this mix as you weave your hands together in a little basket. So now my hands are woven in a little basket, my little fingers are touching down on the ground, and the crown of my head is just touching really lightly. I am not resting the weight of my body on the crown of my head because my neck was designed to support the weight of my head, not the much larger weight of my body. But maybe you can keep that pressure down into your forearms and keep your hands even a little closer. But as soon as that connection's lost, just creep your feet back and bring your knees back down to the floor. Really honor what's actually happening in your body. Because our attention today is resting on our connection to the floor. Yeah, so maybe as you walk your feet forwards, your wrists lift up off the ground. And so you bring them back until you have that connection again, freeing up the space between your shoulders. And then maybe you have another little play with that. Let's lower our knees to the floor and press back into a child's pose. Release your hands if you've still got them woven into a little basket. And then come up again into hands and knees. From this hands and knees position, can you step your left knee forwards to the back of your left wrist? And can you then creep that right foot back a little? Now your left ankle is creeping over towards the back of your right wrist. And that's really hard to understand, but what it is the bottom of your leg is going diagonal across your mat. Yeah, some of you can reach the bottom of your leg parallel to the top of your mat, but that's not our aim, right? Our aim is just to take a little stretch of our left hip and just to explore that movement, that opening. Notice again, where are you connected to the floor now? Down into your knees. Maybe you've lost the connection through your shin to the ground, through your right leg, but you still have that connection down into the top of your right foot. Probably through the bottom of your left leg, and the outside edge of your left ankle and foot. So just noticing that connection down into the floor, maybe releasing a little more fully down towards it. Yeah, and for some of you in this pose, you might want to start resting down onto your forearms, resting your forehead down towards the ground. Or maybe like me, you just want to stay here and explore that connection, the points of connection that you have down through the floor into your legs, finding that spaciousness through that right hip and through the front of the leg. And from this pose, sometimes we step back into downward facing dog, but often the leg's kind of lost a little bit of its connection. So what we're going to do is we're going to tap the right toes. We're just going to glide that right knee forward, and we're actually just going to come back into hands and knees. Now from hands and knees, let's take a couple of movements through our hips, rolling circles, just exploring that. Sometimes that pose creates tension through the waist. Yeah, maybe it did for you. And then from here, we're going to step that right knee forwards towards the back of the right ankle. You can see a little better this way. My right ankle comes towards the back of my left wrist. Right. And then I'm just going to creep that left foot back. And just exploring again how you connect down to the floor, where you're connected down into that right leg, the top of your right foot, or sorry, your left leg, the top of your left foot, your left knee. Softening down into your right leg, there are points connected there, right? Your right knee, the outside of your right leg, your right ankle, the outside edges of your right foot. So just exploring those connections, just noticing that you can deepen them a little. And often as you deepen those connections, you let go of a little bit of the expectation that maybe you have in this pose sometimes, that you're going to get that forehead down towards the ground, right? Instead of that being your aim, knowing that the connection here is what we're finding, the connection down to the earth and the connection of our bodies to the earth. You might be able to be aware of a nice stretch up through your left side, maybe that continues up through your belly. Or it might feel quite isolated through your right hip. It's going to depend on where your tensions are. But just stay here for a few breaths and notice. Yeah, and again, as we come out of this, we're not coming into down dog. Instead, we're just going to glide that left knee forwards, and then we're going to step that right knee back. And we're going to take a little rock from side to side, noticing the release through your hips. And then coming over to seated, extend your legs out wide. Right, it can be nice to be sitting up on a blanket, or it can be nice rounded down towards the floor. Big toes though pointing towards the ceiling rather than rolling in or back. Sometimes we have a bit of a tendency, and if you want to increase that stretch through your groin and you think you've got a little bit more space to, you might lift yourself up and pop yourself further forwards. And then just noticing as we find that release through the inner thighs, through the groin, and letting our body get used to this pose first of all. And then from there, maybe there's the space to fold forwards between the legs. Even in this pose, there are points of the body where you're strongly connected. As you fold forwards, you add your palms into that connection to the floor, right? So now we're softening down into our hands, releasing down through the back of the legs, down into the sit bones. Notice if they've started to lift, ground them back down. Connecting down into the back of the heels. If that's too intense for you, then you can rest a blanket or something underneath the back of your heels. But if it feels okay too, then I'd like you to draw your toes back towards you through this movement. Can you deepen your connection to the floor somehow? Is that by pressing a little more firmly into the palms? Or is that by bringing your attention a little more through to the back of your legs and your sit bones? Yeah, just bringing your attention to that as we stay here for a few more breaths. And then coming back up to seated. Bring your knees towards you. Have the soles of your feet down onto the floor. And just see if you can wrap your hands around your knees. Find the soles of your feet really pressing down into the ground again, finding that yielding down towards the earth. Even your toes are connected. And holding your knees however you need to be able to hug your body towards your knees. And depending on the shape of your body, you might be holding onto your knees with your hands and your knees might be a little wider. Yeah, or you might like to have your knees narrower and have your arms wrapped right around your knees so that they're to the inside of your elbows. Your body's going to let you know which works best for you. And it's your job to listen. Now let's release out of this pose. We're going to bring our legs out in front of us. And we're going to give ourselves a bit of a massage down the back of the legs by bringing our hands behind us and by pounding the legs down towards the floor. Keep your feet relaxed. Your feet missed out a little bit on the wobble last time when we were standing. So we're going to give them a shake down towards the ground and just let your feet relax. That's it. Now in the next movement, because it is a bit of a hip stretch and also a stretch down the back of the legs, again, you might want to be up on a blanket or a cushion. We're going to come upright and we're going to bring our left foot to rest on top of our right thigh. Now my left knee is floating. I'm aware of that. I'm going to support it by keeping my left foot flexed. But I've got my foot there so that I can start to give my toes a little bit of movement as well as explore this lovely stretch down into my left hip. Now I'm going to take my foot and just apply some pressure through the foot, giving it a bit of a massage, squeezing and releasing, massaging with my thumbs. And then it may be that you can take a fold forwards over your leg here. Now, what might happen is the pressure of your left ankle down into your right thigh might feel too painful. And so if that's you, just come down to lie on the floor, bring the sole of your right foot down onto the floor and just have your left ankle resting on top of your right thigh. And I'll show you that in a moment. And so if that was too sore through your right thigh, then just come into this pose. Left ankle on top of your right thigh, taking the pose here. You can even lift up your right foot and squeeze it towards you. Otherwise, we're exploring that stretch down the back of the right leg as well as that stretch through the left hip and giving our foot a little bit of attention. And then let's return to seated. We're coming through the other side. So we're going to extend that left leg out and we're going to take hold of our right foot. We're going to pop it on top of our left thigh. Again, to support that knee, I'm keeping my foot flexed. But if it still doesn't feel good, then you just come out of the pose. Just giving your foot a little bit of attention, a little bit of a massage, rolling through your toes, giving them a bit of love. And from there, maybe you have the space to start to fold forwards over that leg. Maybe that feels too sore through your left thigh, and that's okay. Yeah. Come down to the ground, the pose that we took before. So this time your left sole of foot will be down on the floor, your right ankle will be up on top of your left thigh, and you can wrap your hands around your left thigh and hug it down towards you. Because I do understand that the pressure of your ankle down into your thigh is sometimes a bit sore. Sometimes it feels like a nice pressure point, sometimes it just feels too sore. And then rising back up to seated now, we're going to bring the hands back behind us and we're going to see if we can hug our knees towards our chest. Yeah? And then maybe the shins can come parallel to the floor and we're going to play around with what it is to extend and then bend. Ready? Let's take that again. Extend and then bend. One more time. We're going to extend and then bend. Let's keep those knees here. Can you feel that your belly's doing some work as well as that lifting and engaging through your pelvic floor? It works quite well on the exhale, right? Let's take another breath here. And then pop the soles of your feet back down on the floor. We're going to bring a rolled up blanket underneath the back of our knees if you've got one there. If you don't, then it's all good. We're preparing for our Shavasana. So we're going to roll over onto our side. And then we're going to release back down onto our back. Now extend those legs out long and feel that little stretch through your belly. If you feel like you need a little bit more of a stretch through your belly, bring the soles of your feet down to the floor and just take a little lift, stretching through the front of your thighs. Little stretch through the front of the body. And then soften back down. We're going to extend our legs out long, hands down beside you. Palms towards the ceiling if that feels okay. Your shoulders just resting down on the ground in those little round dinner plates rather than the edges. Now find length down the back of your neck. Maybe that means you need to pop a cushion underneath the back of your head, but quite a low cushion. If you need to, you might want to lift your hips, pop them back down a little further away from your shoulders, and then close your eyes and just let go. So down here on your back, there are lots of points of your body that are connected to the earth, and you're aware of them. You're noticing that with your breath, you can deepen this connection a little. You're aware that there are sounds around you, but you just let them be. As you inhale, you feel the chill of the air at the end of your nose. And as you exhale, you feel the warmth of you as you press the breath out again. As you inhale, feeling that connection to the earth, as you draw in that crisp, clean air. And as you exhale, releasing a little of your own energy, anything that doesn't serve you, out into the world. Noticing that as you breathe, your connection deepens, you feel that connection of your physical body down on the earth. And then maybe you have a sense of something even deeper than that, that at an energetic level, you're deepening that connection. That the energy of you presses out a little bit further than the edges of your body. That you can feel the ebb and flow of your breath moving your body like the tide. That you feel your energy bubbling like a clear blue spring at the center of your being. That color washes through your body, deepening, varying in shades. And as that connects to the earth, the green shade of the earth's energy blends with it, mixing, connecting. You soften and release. Feeling nurtured and nourished. And feeling that your energy nurtures and nourishes the earth. Because of that deep connection. The blending of the earth's energy and yours. Mixing into beautiful, vibrant shades. As you soften and let go, releasing completely to Shavasana. And then notice that even though your eyes are closed, that there is color and light that you can see. You're finding the shade of blue, of yellow, of orange, of red. And all of the shades of color, they're harmonious. Until they seem to merge to become one. And again, there is the bubbling of your energy rising up. Full of all of the colors now, spreading through your body, connecting with the color of the earth, drawing in and out. And slowly rolling over onto your side. Feeling energized and yet relaxed. Moving slowly into a seated pose. When you get into this seated pose, we're going to take one big inhale through the nose and a sigh out through the mouth. Again, maybe you can visualize the colors of that energy drawing in and pressing out. So when you're ready, join me. Let's take another one. And one more. Wonderful to practice with you today. Namaste.